Steel Curtain Network.
Touchdown! Touchdown para Calvin Austin! El Monte Washington es arma. ¿Quién más? ¿Quién más? DJ Watt!
What is up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Steelers Preview. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by Dave Schofield and Bryan Davis. We're getting ready for Week 11. It's Steelers Bengals 2.0. Dave, what's going on?
Hey, I'm ready to see the Steelers back on the field because I'm kind of tired about being disappointed from the last game. New game, new opportunity. Got to take advantage of it. Let's get to it.
Absolutely. Bryan, what's up?
Well, I am just glad, gentlemen, that this game is not in prime time, or like I like to call it, crime time right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm just glad I'm not going to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning doing podcasts and all the other crap that we have to do after games, and they just always lose those games. So, but I agree with Dave. For all those people out there, and if you went up to Steeler fans, random Steeler fans, said, "Hey, ready for that game this weekend?" They'd probably roll their eyes and go, "Not really." I am. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to watch this. Unless you're someone that likes the roster development era more than you do the actual games, I'm going to soak in every single one of these things. So, all right, let's get this show on the road. We've got some news. Asante Samuel Jr., I know that Dave was able to talk about this on Tuesday. Sebastian Castro, we've got some new names, new faces. What do you guys think of the moves that have been made so far? Dave, I'll let you go first.
I think with the new names that have been added so far, if the Steelers can get healthy, I'm going to have a really difficult time figuring out the inactive list, trying to predict that, just because of what they're doing. Hey, I was a little bit frustrated with people, and some people even tagging me on social media when they add Asante Samuel Jr. and they're like, "But he can't play wide receiver too." You know what? 3 weeks ago, people were if the Steelers would have added a wide receiver, people would have said, "But can he play corner? Can he cover? They can't stop anybody." You know what I'm saying? Things change. There's never a problem with trying to improve your team at any position. Everybody should be, upgrade when possible. Everybody is upgradable if it's realistic. You should always look to be trying to get better. I'm glad that the Steelers aren't just sitting back and saying, "Well, we signed Juan Thornhill this offseason. We better keep him throughout the year, at least for depth." They're like, opportunity to get Castro back, we're going to make that swap. I love it.
Yeah. And also, by the way, I wouldn't be shocked if Juan Thornhill, because the Steelers lost Isaiah Hodgins to the practice squad. He went to New York. They poached him off the Steelers. That leaves him a practice squad spot open. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to get Thornhill back in the practice squad if he would be willing to take that.
Yes, if he'd be willing.
Yeah. Bryan, what is your take on all these moves that have been made?
Hey, they're not standing pat, so that's absolutely a good thing there. I like the fact that Samuel went and looked at 6 teams or 5 teams, most of them NFC teams, as Dave pointed out last week when this happened. I like the idea about the fact that a lot of people thought he wasn't coming here, because we had a conversation a couple weeks ago, I believe, saying that would he accept a role with the Steelers. But I guess the part that's not exciting is the fact that he looked at the Steelers situation and said, "Yeah, I could go there," because it's not a good thing right now. So I'm happy that they made that move. I love the Castro addition, because they kind of got caught trying to stash a young guy, and he got noticed, and he may have been noticed because Tampa Bay got to see the Steelers in the offseason, in the preseason, excuse me.
Oh, in that joint practice. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, joint practice and the game. So that's, they've been monitoring that situation in my mind. They're like just waiting for that to happen to grab them. And they're the one team that was just paying attention to Sebastian Castro. They're not going to let it happen this time around. And it's not DeMonte KZ, which I would have welcomed a week ago, 2 weeks ago, but this is not a retread. Steeler fans get upset when there's retreads that keep on coming in. This is a young guy too. The Samuel is a young guy that had, a fusion surgery, and fusion surgeries are a big deal. And he says he feels fantastic. And this wasn't a guy that was ever called a bust either. He was just an injured guy. So with this being said, I think it's a chance for them to get younger and improve.
One thing I learned this week, and I honestly didn't know this, so I'm not going to say, oh, everyone knows that. I didn't, that when a player gets poached off a practice squad, the team that has them on the practice squad has the ability to protect them by then saying, no, you're not going to be able to take him because we're putting him on our 53-man roster. So let's use Isaiah Hodgins as an example. The New York Giants said, we want him on our 53-man roster. He's on your practice squad. The Steelers could have said, no, we're going to promote him. And so for people out there that think that Asante Samuel Jr. or Marquez Valdes-Scantling could be poached, if that's the case, the Steelers are allowing it to happen. So earlier in this year, when Tampa Bay poached Sebastian Castro, the Steelers must have said, we don't have room. It's a good opportunity for you as an undrafted rookie. Go and get the experience. I don't know, Dave, you're scratching your chin. This thing's going.
You're almost right. I mean, that's almost exactly how it works, with the exception of it's not that the Steelers gets to choose if they want to let them go or not. It's they have the equal opportunity to sign them. And actually, the player gets to choose. If you're on a practice squad, you are fair game to anyone, to the team that has you or someone else. Outside of, technically, teams are allowed to protect 4 practice squad players every week. That used to be big news. I used to write that as an article. Now you can't, it's so hard to find that information of teams just protecting practice squad guys. That it's not, I don't even know. You know,
I forgot about that article. I totally forgot about that article.
Yeah. you remember that now?
I do now. Yeah.
And when they first started that used to be something that we would look for. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, they should have, but I can't find it. And I couldn't. And I'm like, I still don't know where to go look for that, because it's just not a very highly publicized thing that's out there. I don't know if that's intentional or not. If anyone knows where to find that for all the teams every week and when it's released, hit me up. I would like to know. I really would. But sure. Bottom line is, any team that's on a practice squad can be signed by any other team. It's not like they're claimed off waivers that team says, we want that player on that practice squad. They have to come to us because we want them. No, the player can turn them down. They could actually, they not only do they not say, hey, I'll go to Steelers, I'll go to your 53. They could flat up say, no, I'm staying here on this practice squad. Now that's a really big deal because of the financial difference there.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that, but no, if someone's snooping around wanting to sign someone off your practice squad, that generally how that works is then is the team what would say, all right, we'll bring you to the 53 if you're willing to stay here. And most players would probably do that.
Go ahead, Brian.
I think the practice squad right now for veterans is just a staging area until they get ready to go.
It really has become that the last several years, which is correct. You're like, hey, let's get you in the practice squad so we don't have to count you on our 53, ramp you up, and when you're ready to go, if you feel like you're ready to go and we don't, and someone else wants to sign you, you're free to sign. That's the thing. There's freedom involved in that for the player.
All right. John asks Brian a question. Do you have the trilogy of Castro jerseys, number 29, 22, and 49?
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that in a way. The first, I do not have a 49. I might have an old 29 Foster somewhere, but I have recently started this thing that my wife thought I was crazy. She just saw today, but my son was getting rid of his Russell Wilson jersey. And I'm like, nope, you're not getting rid of that Russell Wilson jersey. She goes, well, yeah, you should keep that because that might be vintage and a classics. I'm like, no, he was there for 1 year and sucked. I said, we're just going to take the plate off the back. So I just 2 weeks ago took the plate off of number 22, Najee Harris, because I have other Najee Harris jerseys. So I had an extra one that I was going to give to somebody. Now nobody wants it. So the plate's off. I already have my number 22 Asante Samuel jersey ready to go.
So you ordered a plate for Asante Samuel Jr.?
No, it's just going to be
plateless, right?
It's going to be like Penn State. It's just going to be blank.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had somewhere that the boat was going to be dropping name plates off now.
No,
and you were going to take.
I've been looking for that. If that's possible, then when I get to that point, and I know it's going to happen someday, it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, we might have to have a meeting about a problem.
Yeah. Intervention. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. My wife will go ahead and she'll go ahead and join you on planning that. But the kids are getting jersey-fied. My son's like, Dad, when's my Will Howard jersey gonna come? I'm like, do you really want a Will Howard jersey? He's like, yes. And my daughter wants a Jack Sawyer, so I guess I got to order.
All right, there you go. All right, quick question before we go to the injury report. Dave, do you think either of the two big name players on the practice squad, we're talking about Asante Samuel Jr. and MVS, do you think either of them get promoted to the active roster this week?
I think there's a possibility of one of two players being activated to the Steelers roster this week. We'll get to the whole idea of why, because I think the Steelers will be down a cornerback. So I think the Steelers will promote either Asante Samuel or Daryl Porter.
Okay. Brian, what about you? Do you think one or any of those players are active this weekend?
I think Dave has put more thought into it than I have, but it seems like on the wide receiver side, I think yes, because I think Keyshawn Williams is probably, the way that press conference sounded, I almost feel like he is going to be the odd man out, and it's time to see what MVS has to do. As far as Samuel and Castro go, I don't know. I would assume
Castro's on the 53, remember?
Yeah, Castro's on the 53.
Yeah. So as far as Samuel goes, I think they give it one more week as they get him acclimated, but it is also Cincinnati with just not only world beaters, but Isovish, who beats them up too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if I'm putting a guess out there, I don't think MVS gets promoted this week. Mm-hmm. I think, though, that they might be looking at Asante Samuel saying, look, man, Kyle Duggar did it in a couple days. We need you to do it with a full week of work. And we're going to have you out there on a limited basis. Maybe he's like a dime backer or someone like that. But they have him as the outside guy. Like, it's been reported this week he's only practiced on the outside, never in the slot. That throws a new wrinkle into things, because if they would have him out there, because as we get to the injury report, Darius Slay, still dealing he's in the NFL concussion protocol. Jimmy Pierre had played well. I'm not about to bash Jimmy P, but I don't know. Dave, let's get to the injury report.
Well, yeah, just one thing I was going to say. Well, now I lost it. Which one was it? It wasn't about MVS. What was the?
Was it about Duggar?
You said about Kyle Duggar.
Yeah.
He was playing in NFL games this year, just got switched from one team to another.
I know.
That's the difference, because Samuel's coming, and this would be his first action of the season. So that I could see is, I mean, it could be that they elevate him just because they need another body for depth. That could be something that's going on there. Let's get to this injury report. Here we go. First, let's hit the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is why I think that Keyshawn Williams could be out, but it might not be MVS, because for the second straight day, Scotty Miller was a full participant. Don't forget about so they would have to have two wide receivers that would be inactive otherwise in order to have MVS come up, and that's just my opinion. So he's been full both days. Darius Slay, concussion protocol. He's been running around on the field both days without a helmet because he's in the protocol, but did not practice. I kind of want to pause here for a second because I want to ask Jeff a question. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody not practice at all Thursday and clear protocol for Sunday.
I have never, not since the protocol became a thing. Typically, if he's limited, there's a chance. Yeah. But I think if two DNPs, I think it's safe to say he's not. You're never going to skyrocket. You're not going to skyrocket to full participation on Friday when you're in the protocol. It doesn't work that way.
And so, you have to be a full participant in something and be reevaluated. You can't clear the protocol until you reach that level. So I'm extremely, almost completely certain that he's going to be out this week. And I'm not sure that that's the most terrible thing right now. He might need a reset anyway. Corey Trice Jr., man, they're going to be in trouble come next week when they've got to put him on the 53 or not. Because once again,
season's over.
Yeah, I think his season's over again with second practice back, knee injury, boom. But he didn't practice again. Jabril Peppers, full both days. Cole Holcomb didn't practice yesterday, didn't make it back to limited today. So it looks like, when it comes to an illness, getting back into it some. But I wouldn't be shocked if they hold him out for another week. Since they have Malik Harrison. We'll see how that plays out. This is the biggest one for me. 2 days of Alex Highsmith not practicing with a pectoral. Isaac Seumalo has been limited both days. So for me, that he's practicing at all tells me he's probably going to play. Yep. Broderick Jones didn't practice Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday with a groin. They say this is the same thing that bothered him some during the preseason. Then everyone else was just rest on Wednesday to be back to full on Thursday, except for Cam Hayward, who was just limited with rest. That was Jonnu Smith, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward.
All right, Brian, what's your take?
That, to me, is an 8-hour wait at the emergency room. That means there's a lot of guys ahead of you. And for what I'm saying about that, let me be clear. It just seems like that's a lot of guys on a list right now that the Steelers need to worry about. Highsmith, big deal. Especially, and I'm not dismissing it. It is a big deal because he needs to be in there. You can't just go with, all right, he's out. We'll go ahead and throw Herbig in. You need all three of those guys, and you need them healthy. That pecs scare me, and we've seen what's happened with the pec with Seumalo. He keeps coming back and then exiting, so I'm afraid that might need more rest as far as that goes. The other guys, Corey Trice, it's the curse of 27 right now. I really think the Senquez Golson curse, which we talked about last week, I think his season is pretty much going to be over because if his knee took him out of action last week, those knees just don't get better right away. And with the guys that they're bringing in, I think they're preparing for life without Corey Trice, and that's a shame.
Yeah. I'll throw in, I agree with everything Brian said. I'll throw in the Broderick Jones groin thing. I mean, for a tackle, that kick step and the pass protection, you just hope everything's fine. He obviously downplayed it talking to the media today, so we'll see. But Dave, any thoughts on anything that we talked about?
Yeah. Here's one I'm going to throw out there because Brian and I kind of got this right before. Was it maybe Brian and I or Jeff? I can't remember which one of you agreed with me. I think it might have been Brian. You guys will correct me. You'll remember that when Seumalo didn't play, that it was Spencer Anderson at guard, but when they wanted to go jumbo, somebody else played guard and Anderson went jumbo.
Yeah.
Here's my question. If they're concerned about Brandon Echols in the slot, if Peppers is now back, is it whenever they go into sub package, does Ramsey come out of free safety for Peppers in order to slide to the slot?
That's interesting, especially in this game with
especially since Peppers and Duggar have played together too.
Yeah, but especially with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Oshivas and all they just have such a prolific passing attack. That's an interesting thought. I never would have even thought of that. So I think that'll be intriguing to watch if Jabril Peppers, unless he has a setback and he's good to go. So, all right, you have the Bengals.
I've got the Bengals, and I got it off their website, but then now finally they've put it on Steelers.com. So we'll see if the cut and paste component was the cut and paste component, to see if it's proper. All right. So Joe Burrow it's funny. They didn't have him labeled today. So that's a cut and paste component issue that he's only in the 21-day window, that he's not, designated to return. He was limited again. I mean, that would be an all-time, let's really pull the wool over their eyes thing if Joe Burrow, if they would bring him back this week. That'd be crazy. Wide receiver Jermaine Burton popped up today, Thursday, as not playing due to an illness. Let's see, what else do we have here? Joe Flacco didn't practice yesterday, limited today. I think that's called old man designation. Now a couple of the big ones. Trey Hendrickson didn't practice either day. Shamar Stewart didn't practice either day. So, maybe Broderick Jones not having to face either one of those guys could be, be all right. There was someone with rest. That was BJ Hill. I'm not even worried about that. Guard Lucas Patrick popped up on Thursday with a calf and didn't participate after he was out there Wednesday. Running back, I can never say his first name right. Samaje, is that right?
Samaje Perine, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't practice either day. And then the only other one is a cornerback, Marco Wilson with a hamstring, but he was full both days.
Interesting. Brian, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, Dave, you hit it on the head with Hendrickson and Stewart out. That's my gosh, they haven't had much luck with Stewart from the beginning with that holdout and everything that's gone on with his injuries. Looks like that looked like a first rounder gone bad right away. But I'm still glad if he's not going to be in there and having to face Broderick Jones if he's feeling limited but trying to go. That is a big start, but there's really not much on offense that is concerning for the Steelers when I say the Bengals offense, which would benefit the Steelers. It seems like that's a very healthy offense going into this game. Samaje Perine is their second guy, and he can do some damage, but it's not Chase Brown. So in fact, I feel that this is a team that their defense isn't going to be good anyway, but the Steelers' offense has to be good against whoever they bring out there, and that's what remains to be seen. As far as offense, they come in, to me, healthy. I don't care if Joe Flacco was out and limited, like he said. What did Mike Tomlin call it with Polamalu? Because of a birth certificate or age, or I forget what it was. Did not practice because of...
I can't remember. It was, yeah.
I remember either, yeah.
That's all that is.
Well, Joe Flacco does have a shoulder injury.
Yes, he does.
So 2 weeks ago, he got planted into the turf on his throwing shoulder. They get to go into the locker room. They shoot it up. They probably are going to have to do this for the majority of the season, but it is worth noting that if, let's say, he takes a shot to that shoulder, he might not be able to throw the football. He might have to leave, and Jake Browning comes in. So yes, it is the aging quarterback syndrome, but it's also he does have that injury to his shoulder. Other than that, you mentioned not having Shamar Stewart. I don't think that's really impactful because he's not impactful. But Hendrickson, they didn't have him last time either. So people need to remember that. In week 7 on Thursday night, they didn't have Trey Hendrickson in that game either. And so we all know how that finished. Dave, any thoughts on the Bengals before we go to keys to victory?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's start off with Steelers offense, keys to victory. Dave, give us the old play hard speech. Here we go.
Play hard. Now, do what works. I mean, the last time the Bengals played in Pittsburgh was week 18 last year. And after the Steelers had torched them through the air for 44 points and 400 some yards, they came out and decided all they were going to do for the first 3 quarters was run the ball. And they didn't do it well, and they kept trying to do it. Now, if they do that in this game, Steelers fans would probably be ecstatic. Oh, they're finally going to commit to Jalen Warren and run the ball. And then if they don't do it well, they're going to get mad that they keep doing it because that's just how we are. We want the results. But I would say just stick with what works. It doesn't mean that you have to run the same play over and over again, but there are different styles and different things that work. If the jumbo's working well, keep it out there a lot. It's all right. You can run it. You can run it over 50% of the time if you want to. It's okay. If short passes are working, do that. If the middle of the field is open, do that. If Pat Freiermuth is the zone killer against the Bengals, like Coach Tomlin was saying, throw it to him a bunch. I don't care. Don't feel like you have to change it up. Just do what's working.
All right. Brian, offensive key to victory.
Find your identity. Know who you are. Be who you are. Let them know you're there. And that means if you are worried, if the fans are worried that there isn't a, quote, number 2 wide receiver, who cares? Know who you are. Use your tight ends and use them well. I don't care if you have to throw to Washington, Smith, and Freiermuth 15 times combined the entire game. Do it. Do, like Dave was saying, do what works. Yeah. But find who you are and quit making excuses. Just be the Steelers that you think you are and go ahead. That's going to be successful if you're who you think you are.
So talk about doing the right thing and doing what works. Go back to last week, going into the Chargers game. The Chargers had a very good pass defense, but not so great, kind of middle of the road run defense. And so everyone was like, they got to run the football. This is not a great run defense. The Bengals suck in every statistical category on defense. They are either 30th or worse in every metric that matters on defense.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but if there was a game where it's like, hey, let's get it right. Let's do something. Let's get our mojo back. Let's get a little optimism. Let's start feeling good about ourselves. I feel like this is it, at least on paper.
Yeah.
So,
but every time
I know
is when they don't, and then they do get ranked games when you don't expect them. I don't know. But
right.
This one on paper, you're right, Jeff.
Okay, let's go to defense, Dave. What's your key to victory there?
Okay, two things. One, and they have to go together, or else it's not going to work. I mean, and I'm not going to say stop the run. I'm not going to say that. That's just something I'm going to take for granted. I'm going to say, this happened bad last time. Don't let them run on you. End of story. Stop the run isn't a key. It's just something that's just an expectation. Okay. The two things on defense I want the Steelers to do. Okay, listen to me here. Don't play 10 yards off the receivers on the line of scrimmage, and don't let Joe Flacco get comfortable. Go after Joe Flacco, but if you play 10 yards off the wide receivers, guess what? He's just going to throw it extremely fast, and it's not going to matter that you're going after him. If you actually, I know it's really tough to do that, and the reason I say play up on them, then double if you have to. Do what you have to do, but play up with the receivers, but go get Joe Flacco, because you can't just say, "Oh, go get him," if he can just dump it that fast. So it's kind of has to work together.
Very fair, Brian. Defensive key.
All that Dave said, plus don't forget about the non-big names. Don't forget about Fant and Isovich. Don't forget about the middle of that field when you're trying to go ahead and stop Higgins, trying to stop Jamar Chase. Sure, you can't let those guys on an island either, but you can't let that middle open. And for God's sakes, just try to bum rush that dude too.
Are you there, Jeff?
You talk about the defense. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Okay. So you talk about the defense and the issues with the Cincinnati defense. Offensively, they are the worst statistical running offense in the NFL, 32nd ranked, 78.8 yards per carry. But let's also not forget, Dave, you're going to say, I don't want to say stop the run. They ran for 142 yards in week 7 on the Steelers. They averaged 6.2 yards per carry. So if you want to get to Joe Flacco, if you want to stop the pass, you have to make them one-dimensional. And it starts with not letting them ever get started. Dominate. I want to see Derek Harmon, get him out there a little bit more. I think Keanu Benton has seen a resurgence in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Let's keep it going. Don't rely on Cam Hayward to do everything. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking over-under game. We're going to do some bad memories. We've got trivia, all that fun stuff. If you're watching live on any platform, we're not going anywhere. Otherwise, we'll be right back. All right, Steeler fans, we are back. Thank you all for sticking around. It is time for the over-under game. Dave, do you have the updated rankings?
Yes, I do.
Last week was rough. It was rough.
Especially when it came to picking games. None of us got either right. We did not get the winner or the over-under of the score. We were all three there, so we didn't add anything there. Jeff's still up by 2 there across the board, 9 to 7 to 7. When it came to picking our other over-unders, Brian was the winner last week. He had 3, while Jeff and I both had 2. So it wasn't a winner by much. The one that separated him that I have to say was taking the under on the Steelers rushing yards.
Oh,
that's the one that did it for him. So Jeff has got 24 points. Brian is now up to 30 points, and I am at 33.
Okay, here we go. Week 11 versus the Bengals. First one, Jaylen Warren rushing yards. I've got this line at 75.5. Brian, over under.
I'm going to go under again. Okay. And not apologize for it.
All right. Dave.
Okay. I didn't get the yardage.
75.5.
70. I just want to be precise.
Yep.
Brian's going under. Not me. He rushed for 117 yards. Last time
they went over 100.
They as a team, they averaged 7.9 yards per carry last time against the Bengals. Give me the over.
I'm going over as well. The only thing that scares me is if they decide that they're just going to do a lot of split carry stuff and they're going to spread it out evenly. But I still like Jaylen Warren going over, which, talking about split carries, Caleb Johnson carries. Okay, I've got the line at 2.5. Brian, you going over or under?
I'm actually going to go over on this because 3, I think, is doable for a guy like Caleb Johnson. So 2.5 is that's a nice line, but I think they're trying to orient him in a little bit more. So if your fears are true, Jeff, then yeah, he'll get more than 2.5.
Dave?
I think he gets more than 2.5 if the Steelers have a lead late in the game. I wouldn't be shocked if he's out there getting the ball. If it was 2.5 and it was touches, I'd be like, 1 catch, 2 carries for sure. But you know what? I'm going to go wishful thinking. I'm going to take the over as well.
Got to make up ground. I'm going under. I think he gets 2. I think he gets 2 carries. All right, let's go Pat Freiermuth receiving yards. I've got the line at 30.5. Brian?
Oh my gosh. This is Pat Freiermuth keeps me up at night with the over and under game. I'm very rarely right with Pat. Let's go ahead and go west and say over.
All right, Dave.
All right. He had 115 last time.
But
if you recall, if you recall, 2 years ago, when they played the Bengals twice late in the season, the first one was when Freiermuth went nuts. That was the first post-Matt Canada game. And then when they played them again the next time, he got shut out. Wasn't even targeted. So do they focus on Muth? Do they? If they do, I could see this as a feast or famine for Pat Freiermuth. I'm like, I don't know that they're going to focus on him because I still think they're more worried about DK Metcalf. So I'm going over.
I'm going over as well, even if it's not by much. I think he's around 35 yards. All right, let's go to the next one. Pittsburgh Steelers defensive sacks. I've got the line at 2.5 for those that are curious. In week 7, they sacked Flacco twice. Brian, over under.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to go under. I just don't see them getting home.
All right. Dave?
Okay. I'm going over because I want them to do what I said. Actually, not give this huge cushion off the line. I'm going to say this. I still think that's what Jamar Chase was referring to when he said we knew what they were going to do when we came out. I think that he knew that they were going to play way off of him. Whether it was because we know they played all kinds of different things, cover 2, cover 3, blah, 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 all these different stuff that they threw at the Bengals. But one thing they constantly did more than anything was played off of them. So I don't think they can afford to do that. So therefore, I think if you do that, you could maybe get one more sack, at least one more sack than you did last time. And for that reason, I'm going over.
I'm going over. I think that the Steelers are going to have them in a position where they're going to have to throw the ball down the field. It's going to allow the pass rush. And Highsmith's played well, but Nick Herbig, he is a pass rush specialist. I could see him definitely being disruptive. But again, like Dave said earlier, the keys to victory, you have to have Joe Flacco hold on to the ball longer. You can't just have him 3-step drop and knows exactly where he's going with it. I'm going to go over. Let's go Jamar Chase receiving yards. I've got the line at 105.5. Brian, over under.
You could go 1,005 and I'm going over. So that's just my answer. He beats the Steelers. It's hard to keep him down.
Okay. Dave?
I think the key is going to not let everybody else pile on top of him, his yardage like they did last time. I don't want it to be, but the safe bet is over, so I'm going to take the safe bet.
I'm going to go under because I think the Steelers are going to say if they beat us, it's going to be anyone but number 1. And that's Jamar Chase.
I could see them doing that as well.
So it could be T. Higgins that goes over 100 and Chase gets 80. So I'm going to go under. And let's finish this up with Chris Boswell field goals. The line is at 2.5. And this is made field goals, not field goal attempts. So last week's weird 40-yard miss would not have counted. Brian, over under 2.5.
I'm going to go 3 on that. And so we will take the over.
Okay. Dave?
Hold on. I'm trying to do my score. I'm going to have to go under based on my score prediction that I already have.
Okay, I'm going.
I don't
over.
want to. I don't want to. I want to go over, but based on my prediction, it doesn't. Unless a weird safety or something comes into there, I'm going to say under. I'm going to say just two.
I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over there. So now let's take a look at our score predictions for this game. The Steelers. This line has continued to inch upwards. It started with 3.5, and now it's up to 5.5. Steelers are giving 5.5 points at home, with a total of 49.5. So with those numbers out of the way, Brian, what is your score prediction?
So I will go ahead and say that this is going to be high scoring once again. I cannot think that it's going to be low with both of these defenses. I'm going to go right away and say that the Steelers are going to score 33 points in this game. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers to beat the Bengals by the score of 33-30.
Ooh, so the Bengals actually get the points and would win in that regard.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's an over. So, all right, Dave, what's your prediction?
I got to make a special note of that it's Cincinnati to cover. My prediction, I'm so tired of knowing what to do here. Part of me was like, I'm not gonna budge. I'm not going to pick up against the Colts, even though I started to believe in it as the week went on, because I made that decision. And I was already mad that how they played against the Packers. And I'm constantly getting these wrong. I completely suck at it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a score of what it should be. Probably isn't what it's going to be, but it's what it should be. What the Steelers should do in this game. And in this game I don't think they're going to stop the Bengals defense. They just need to slow them down. I said it on Pittsburgh Standard Time that going against a defense that's this poorly ranked, the only way the Steelers should not score at least 30 points is if they hold the Bengals to less than 20. And therefore they're not having to score anymore in order to keep a decent lead. So I'm thinking that they're going to have to score some points here. I have the final score of Steelers 34, Bengals 26.
Okay, way over. I could see that happening. I like the Steelers. Shocker. I know
Brian's more over than I was.
That's true. You're right. You're right. He was. I forgot his score.
Way above the spread. Brian wasn't. I was. Yeah.
I like the Steelers to put up some points in this game, but I also like the Bengals to put up some points in this game. I like the Steelers to win. I actually like them to cover, and I'm taking the over. I have Steelers 30, Cincinnati 24. And I think this is going to be a fun game, an entertaining game. I said that last week, which it wasn't, but I think this one will be fun. 1:00 kickoff Eastern time. So there you have it. There's our score predictions and the over-under game. So we do have a super chat I want to bring up here before we get to bad memories. Ant Smith gives us $9.99. Thank you very much for the tip. And he says, Ben's touchdown record is 34. Rodgers is at 18 now with 8 games to go. For sure, going to break it. How do you guys feel about that? In one season, Rodgers breaks the record from Ben. All 3 of your thoughts. All right, so let's go with Dave first.
I don't know for sure that he's going to break it. I mean,
it's not a given.
How we've the offense we've seen the last 2 weeks doesn't look like he's going to break it. But that doesn't mean that's what the offense is going to be from here on out. There's also no guarantee that Aaron Rodgers is going to be either healthy or available or needed for all 8 of those games as well, remember? So to me, I'm not sure that he gets there, but if he does, then he does. It is what it is. The Steelers, I'm not worried about, you're breaking the record of someone who was with the Steelers for years and years, one guy coming in at the end of his career. You know what? I want him to win and do well. So that's what I want the Steelers to do every year. So I'm not as worried about that as anything else.
All right, Brian, what's your take?
Ben's got 1 million Steelers records. Terry Bradshaw's, most of his records were broken by Ben Roethlisberger. And nobody cares because we're not giving back those 4 Super Bowls. We're not giving back all those great years of Ben and 2 Super Bowls. And if Aaron Rodgers can beat it, hey, I'd love to see his name in Steeler lore for a long, long time, even if he's just here for one season. That means that the Steelers are doing well, and I'm going to take it for 2025. It will not diminish anything that Ben does. It's roughly what, 2 a game at this point with 8 games remaining. So if he could average about 2 a game, which is possible, I think it's something that would be great for this team in 2025 and not take anything away from the last 91 years.
To me, I mean, like you said, Ben has so many records that I don't know if Ben's going to be. Well, actually, Ben probably would be a little butthurt if he does break it, but because it's Ben, like he was even throwing, is it Kendrick Green the other day on his podcast. So he'll probably be upset about it. But I think Aaron Rodgers would probably, if you asked him, he's probably like, I don't care about those records anymore. I want to win. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to win. So unless he's going to break the Steelers win record, which is not going to happen, I don't think it matters too much. So, all right, Brian, we get to guess the game. It's Steelers Bengals in Pittsburgh. I'm assuming this game that you have in your head is in Pittsburgh.
Yes, it has to be. Those the rules.
Okay,
you're never going to guess it.
I'm going to guess it's actually a losing effort. I'm going to guess that it's the TJ Houshmandzadeh wiping his cleats with the terrible towel game that was 2005, I do believe, and spawned the Who Day and all that stuff that happened later. That's my guess. Dave, what are you guessing?
My guess, I don't know. Maybe it's here's a weird one. Maybe it was the home week 17 game where AB showed up on the sidelines in a fur coat and left at halftime, never to play for the Steelers again. They won that game, but then they sat on the field with people in the stands, and both teams actually did, watching to see if the Browns could upset the Ravens and put the Steelers in the playoffs, which they did not.
All right, gentlemen, Jeff, I got to hand it to you. You're half right.
Oh.
It is a losing effort. And I came very close to going ahead and taking that Houshmandzadeh game. But just like that game elevated the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're going to go back 10 years earlier than that. We're going to go back to 1995. And Thursday Night Football, October 19th or 18th, I can't remember. 19th. I have it right here.
I got
October 19th, 1995. The Steelers lost at home 27-9 in a horrible effort against the Cincinnati Bengals. They were just really bad. The only offense they had were 3 field goals from Norm Johnson in this game. But this was the game that the Pittsburgh Steelers realized what they had in a wide receiver, in a quarterback, a punter, a running back, in Cordell Stewart. And they did not lose again until the end of the season when they had already clinched. This was a game that Cowher went nuts after the game on the press. It was just Armageddon for the Steelers, a team that were 3 yards away the year before. Were not going to get back to the Super Bowl after 3-4. And even though they lost that Super Bowl, Jeff, Dave, you can agree that 95 was a magical season up until that Super Bowl. So I definitely remember that game. Now, I put a little footnote on this too, because the second effort, if that game was in Pittsburgh, but it was Thanksgiving weekend, and I love that game more than anything. And the Steelers won like 52 to something after being down like 17 at halftime. And so I bring that up. 1995 Steelers versus Bengals was fantastic. Both games, just for the fact of the disheartening effort in the first one led to glory in the second one and led to a change in that season. And they said they were going to make changes. They absolutely did. The one big change they made right after that game, Carnell Lake moved a corner.
So, Brian, that's really good. John S. said, you promised the story of getting stuck on the roof hanging Christmas lights. Was that against the Bengals, that game?
That was against the Bengals in Cincinnati, and I will tell that story. I tell you what, John S., you're a good listener. I will, if Jeff and Dave agree, if the Steelers win, I will tell that story next week as a little bit of an extra.
Sure. That sounds fine to me. All right. Are we doing Jeopardy style again, Dave?
We're doing Jeopardy style. Last week, I was really ahead of stuff, and I even typed up my questions and everything rather than click on things and try to come up with them as I can. It didn't work out well for the Steelers. So guess what? Not typed up this week. I'm doing exactly how we did before, but we've got the 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000. We've got Bungled in the Berg is our category. These are players which could actually be, there could be a repeat from the last time because I don't remember who all I talked about last time. But these are players that played for both teams.
Okay.
I think Brian got the big win last week.
He did. I don't think I got any right last week.
Yeah, Jeff was like, I can't think of anything.
Couldn't.
So, yeah. Brian, where are we going? 2, 4, 6, 8.
Let's go ahead with 2.
All right. Be ready for this one, Jeff. Okay. This Steelers player with a legendary Super Bowl played 10 seasons in Pittsburgh before one in Cincinnati and then returning back to the Berg. Jeff.
Man, who is James Harrison?
There we go. We got James Harrison. We got a good one for Jeff there. Yay!
1,000.
What? You're ready for 1,000?
He's confident.
You're going to have no idea for this.
That's the plan, baby. Let's go.
All right, for 1,000. This 4th round draft pick out of Notre Dame played 4 seasons for the Steelers, but never started a game. When he went to Cincinnati, he started every game for 3 straight seasons on the defensive line. We are out of time, gentlemen.
I don't want to lose it, but I have a possible guess. But,
okay, well, you're too late, so tell me who it is.
Orion Harris.
That's a great guess, but that's not it.
Okay. That's why I didn't go.
I even was going to throw in number 98, but I don't know if that would help. I never would have got this name. I would have had no clue. You ready? Who is Oliver Gibson?
Oh, yeah. Oliver. Okay. Yeah, he did go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, that one was extremely difficult. The other ones aren't so bad.
But
800. 800.
800. All right. This is one that I would have gotten. So I don't know if that makes you feel any better. Okay. All right. This Steelers 2nd round draft pick. Hold on. I gotta make sure I didn't screw this up. Yeah. This Steelers 2nd round draft pick was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs after 3 seasons, but did not make the team and was claimed off waivers and spent 1 year in Cincinnati. He finished up his career with 4 years in San Francisco, followed by 5 in Carolina. Did I say this defensive lineman 2nd round draft pick? I couldn't remember if I said that or not.
You didn't say defensive lineman.
Yeah, defensive lineman. Another defensive lineman.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right, Brian.
Who is Kenny Davison?
No. Okay. The Brian's to the minus 800. Jeff. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Who is the infamous Brenston Buckner? Brenston Buckner.
That's right.
Yeah. Really? All right.
So Jeff clings to his lead. All right, let's go 600.
600. Okay, this one is going to be. This is going to be a little bit better. Okay, this former 1st round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers only lasted 3 seasons after failing the run test and being released that day, only to be picked up for 3 more years by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh gosh, I know his name.
Brian, who we got?
Who is Daryl Sims?
No, I'm sure you would get this one. I thought this was an easy one. Jeff's like, he's holding on to his lead. All right, This one, who's Jermaine Stevens?
Oh, I thought you said defense.
No, I said first round draft pick.
Oh,
remember he came in so out of shape.
Yeah,
and Tower was so ticked that he couldn't even run all the sprints. He
had a pizza delivered to the sideline,
and they cut him hours later.
In training camps, when you get a pizza delivered to you.
Yeah.
This is perfect. I won. We have one question left, but I already won because he's in the negative. This is perfect.
So
I won all the James Harrison.
Yeah, the last one for 400.
I'd like a triple double, Dave.
A triple double. All right, here we go. But you're negative, so you could. Okay, so here we go, and you don't have control of the board. So the last one, this Steelers second round draft pick spent 4 years in Pittsburgh. Signed with a different team, but came back to Pittsburgh to start the season. After playing that 5th year, he ended up with 3 teams in his final season of 2021, one of which included 3 games of the Bengals. And to throw it all off, you know that Bad has the jersey.
Beep. Who is Sean Davis?
Who is Sean Davis? That is correct.
I forgot he played for the Bengals.
I actually knew it before you said Bad has the jersey.
Yeah. He went that last year, and I thought I'd give you the year just because it was easy. He played 1 game with the Colts, 3 with the Bengals, and 2 with the Patriots.
Okay, that's good trivia.
So, there we go. It wasn't as easy because we'd already covered some of the players before. So
for sure.
So the final score was Jeff 200, Bad negative 1,000.
Negative 1,000.
Chalk up a W, baby.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Brian, final thoughts. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. The Steelers are getting a lot of criticism lately, and I'm not going to say that it's unwarranted criticism because things aren't going the way they should, especially when the team is 5-4 at this juncture. So I can understand why a lot of people are upset. I'm not resting either, and there's a lot of unrest in my mind, in my black and gold cranium. Now, I will say this. The Steelers have demonstrated to me something that I do like, though, is that they're not resting on it. It seems like Steelers in the past, when they were struggling at midpoint, have not tinkered this much. Are they over tinkering? Possibly, but you like the fact that they're not throwing in the terrible towel. It has not been done yet. This is absolutely, to me, a get right game because they have not been right in 3 of the last 4 games. So yeah, they need to find a way to, like I said earlier, find their identity, find who they are, and go ahead and go after it and beat down the Bengals. It is a necessity. I know there's not supposed to be must-win games at this juncture, but in my mind, they have to win this game.
All right, Dave, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. This is about this being a get-right game. It's because it better be. It better be. You can't drop 2 games to the Bengals with no Joe Burrow and no Trey Hendrickson. You can't do that. You're back to 1 p.m. when God intended NFL football to be played. You are at home. You're not on turf, which I've had some discussions in some of my other shows about Aaron Rodgers on turf. So you don't have that. But another thing that I brought up on Pittsburgh Standard Time this morning that if y'all didn't get a chance to listen to it, make sure you catch that, is that the Steelers obviously are not peaking right now. Last year, this was right around the peak time for the Steelers. This is when they beat the Ravens. They're coming off beating the Commanders and then the Ravens after the bye week. Then they had the hiccup in the snow game in Cleveland and then came back with a strong game against Cincinnati. The Steelers have lost 3 of the last 4. This, even though they had a really big win against the Colts, you're not calling this peak. The question is the peak ahead of you or behind you? And with so much football to be played, I'm hopeful that the Steelers, the peak is ahead of them. I don't want them to peak too early, but you got to win games along the way in order to put yourself in a good spot. This is one of those that you just can't drop. find a way to win it. And offense, if you can't move the ball against this defense, then there's not going to be a lot of hope for the rest of the season. So this is one of those games that unfortunately, if the Steelers do find a way to win it, it has the potential to be one of those people aren't happy in the way that they want it. So for me, I'm going to try to call myself out now and say, you know what? I just need, after dropping 3 out of 4, I just give me the win. And hopefully how it happens is good enough. But the most important thing is get that victory.
Well said, guys. Good show as always. Get ready for the Steelers versus Bengals with Steel Curtain Network. All of our podcasts, including those that are not on YouTube, you can find anywhere we get your podcast by searching Steel Curtain Network. That's Brian's Bad Language and the Here We Go Steelers show with Kevin Smith, Dave's Pittsburgh Standard Time, my Let's Ride podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And don't forget to check us out after the game on Sunday right here on the Steelers Steel Curtain Network post-game show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's hope for another Steelers win. We'll be back next week no matter what. But Dave, why don't you send us out like you always do?
Hey.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.